world needs a new model of international journalism, and that in order to truly change the storyteller would also have to change.
За миний нэрийг Хорлоо гэдэг. Би Global Press Journal-ийн сурвалжлагчаар Монгол улсад 1 жил ажиллаж байгаа.
Natsanze Segawa, Global Press Journal reporter in Uganda for 5 years.
Shilu Mananda, Global Press Journal reporter in Nepal for 10 years.
Global Press Journal reporter in Zimbabwe.
Reporto para el medio Global Press Journal desde Puerto Rico.
En Argentina.
In Zambia.
En Chiapas, Mexico.
In Zimbabwe for 5 years.
Global Press's all-female reporting team covers 40 communities across Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Local to the communities they cover, these powerful journalists produce feature and investigative news in some of the world's most challenging places where media systems are inadequate or unfree.
Es completamente diferente a cualquier otro medio que exista en Argentina.
The media landscape in Zambia is very small. Currently, I can't say we have a major private newspaper.
The big name media organizations are tied to political parties. Everything that they put out there is polarized.
In Nepal is mostly privately owned companies. It has and always been a male-dominated industry.
We have a lot of female journalists that are completing their tertiary education, but that doesn't translate to having more female journalists in the media.
Unfortunately, as vibrant as the women are, most of them are not in leadership positions.
Over the last 30 years, budget cuts across the journalism industry have decimated foreign news bureaus. More than 70% have closed. This gave rise to the overuse of parachute journalism, a brand of foreign correspondence that drops outsiders with limited knowledge of place or language into global communities for a few days, often in times of crisis. This practice can perpetuate an incomplete and inaccurate understanding of the world.
Foreign correspondents do cover Nepal. The kind of stories that they cover are mostly when there are natural disasters.
If there's been riots, political unrest, and also the whole poverty angle.
Muchas de esas ideas siguen reproduciendo esta imagen de la población indígena como una población problemática.
When I tell a Ugandan story in a language that I understand most, it kind of addresses some stereotypes about communities.
When I write about these stories, it's something that I've experienced as a person. It's something that people around me are also experiencing. So that unique access that I have makes me the best person to write about these stories.
Cuando una reportera conoce en profundidad las comunidades, ¿verdad? Hay una afinidad cultural con las personas, sabe a dónde dirigirse.
You understand the culture, you understand the context, you understand the tradition, and you both don't need an interpreter, so no word is lost in translation.
There is an evidence-based correlation between who works in a newsroom and who is quoted in stories. 2/3 of all international news is reported by men, and just 24% of all news sources are women. At Global Press, the reporters decide which stories to tell. These stories of local and global consequence are produced with an exacting commitment to accuracy and a foundational belief that sources have a right to recognize themselves in stories.
The best thing about working for Global Press is the non-assignment policy. I get to choose what to write about and when to write it.
За миний одоо ажиллаж байгаа өгүүлэл бол өсвөр насны охидод сургуулийн орчинд хийгддэг охидын үзлэгийг өсвөр насны охидод өөрсдөө одоо нийлээд энэ үзлэгийг зогсоохын төлөө тэмцэж байгаа талаар өгүүлэл юм а.
Sobre el asunto de la erosión costera.
Rape cases increasing in Nepal.
Escribí sobre la discriminación durante el proceso de selección laboral que sufren las personas que viven con VIH. Y fue muy emocionante ver los comentarios de esa publicación en la que otras personas contaban que a ellos también les había pasado, que se sentían muy identificados con la nota.
Being able to reach that audience of millions, to me it's very empowering. It encourages me to go ahead and go to different places in my community and listen to people's voices and experiences.
When you see a story being published at Global Press, it would have gone through rigorous fact-checking, verifying that every fact that we put in a story is correct. When we talk about the Global Press Style Guide, it's essentially described dignity and precision.
Así que para que haya precisión y haya dignidad tiene que haber verificación y creo que Esos 3 factores son bien importantes para el trabajo que venimos haciendo como reporteras de Global Press Journal.
But their work isn't without risk. Across the world, physical insecurity and online harassment are pervasive for local journalists. Global Press's Duty of Care program has set the industry standard for providing physical, emotional, digital, and legal security to local journalists around the world.
El deber de cuidado para mí significa cuidarme y cuidar al equipo y que este equipo está cuidando de mí.
Global Press is not just focusing on me getting the stories, but it's also focusing on my safety and security as a reporter.
Bueno, hace 15 años, en 2006, cuando comenzamos con la capacitación en Global Press, y era muy emocionante ser la primera mesa de noticias en México, en Chiapas, presenciar todas estas transformaciones en Global Press y en el mundo, pues me hace, por un lado, sentirme afortunada de formar parte de este equipo.
We all feel we belong to this amazing team. Through what we learn at Global Press, it has brought us together as one family.
As readers continue to demand equity, inclusion, and better representation from media, these extraordinary reporters will continue to lead the way, bravely reporting the untold stories so that we can better understand each other and better understand our world.